This video tutorial is provided by the College of Graduate Studies at UCF. In this video, I will review the requirements for using heading styles within a UCF ETD, provide an example of headings within the sample ETD, and demonstrate how to modify and apply styles to your Word document. For a UCF ETD, each heading must begin on a new page with adequate and consistent space below the heading to separate it from the text. The font size must be between 12 and 14 points, with the heading centered and manually typed in all caps. Do not apply the all caps formatting option because this will not be carried over when the table of contents and PDF bookmarks are generated. Subheadings must be formatted according to either the Thesis and Dissertation Manual or your Discipline Style Manual. Subheadings will be explained further in a later video. For chapter headings and major sections, there are two types of heading styles: Pre-Content and Heading 1. UCF ETDs require both heading styles to separate front matter that needs a PDF bookmark from body content and back matter that needs both a PDF bookmark and a table of contents entry. These headings are necessary to generate a linked PDF document, such as the sample ETD, which is available on the College of Graduate Studies website. As you can see in the sample ETD, the bookmark bar to the left lists all major sections of the ETD. However, the abstract, acknowledgments, and table of contents headings do not appear in the table of contents of the document. Because the bookmarks bar grabs all titles with a heading format applied to them, the front matter sections must have a heading style applied. The pre-content style allows front matter titles to be read as headings without also being picked up by the table of contents. The table of contents is then able to generate a list of entries using only the Heading 1 style. In this table, you can see which sections are considered to be front matter and which sections are body content and back matter. Because this video will be focusing on sections which receive the Heading 1 style, we will only be working with sections following the table of contents. Now that we know which sections will receive the Heading 1 style, let's move on to the Word document. Within the Word document, one of the first things I want to do is to turn on the Show Hide All Formatting button. This will show any formatting changes I make. You can see that when I press Enter, it creates a paragraph mark or a backward P. This signifies a hard return. So if my content has large gaps between pages, I can turn on the Show Hide All Formatting button to see if there are any extra hard returns taking up space. Since we're only going to worry about the headings that follow the table of contents, I'm going to start with my list of figures. You can see in the Style section of the Home tab that Word has already created the Heading 1 style. However, it does not apply formatting appropriate for a UCF ETD. Before I can use the style, I'll need to modify it. First, I'm going to place the cursor in front of the title. Now, in the Styles menu of the Home tab, you can see a small gray arrow in the bottom right corner. Click the arrow to open the Styles window. Here you can see all the styles that Word has already generated for you. While it may be tempting to set up your own styles and bypass Word's suggestions entirely, this can become confusing as you have to generate additional styles for subheadings, captions, and so on. We ask that you modify Word's pre-existing styles instead. To do so, hover the cursor over the Heading 1 option. A small arrow should appear to the right of it. Click the arrow and choose Modify from the drop-down menu. This opens a modified font menu to change the settings for Heading 1 to those appropriate for a UCF ETD. We ask that you do not change the name of the style. You can see that it is based on Normal, which is the style designated for body text. This means that it will use the settings for Normal, with any changes you make in the menu layered over the body text settings. The bottom half of this menu is concerned with modifying the font. You can use a standard and legible font such as Arial, Garamond, or Courier New if it is acceptable within the style guidelines of your discipline. Regarding font size, we require that you set the font between 12 and 14 points. I'm going to choose 14 point for this tutorial. I'm also going to keep the font as bold, but set the font color to black. If you decide to use a different color, it needs to be legible and consistent throughout the document. I'm also going to center the heading and ensure that it is single-spaced. As each heading needs adequate and consistent space to separate it from the text, I'm also going to change the paragraph settings. This is accessed through the Format menu in the bottom left corner. From the drop-down menu, I'll choose Paragraph. This opens a new menu. From the Paragraph menu, you can also change the alignment and the spacing if you haven't already. If you have modified the normal style to include a first line indent, you will need to remove this indentation from the heading style. Change the Special menu to None. For the option space before, I am setting it to 0 so that the header stays in line with my top margin and does not create extra space between the header and top margin. If you choose to use 1-inch margins all around with a 2-inch top margin for chapter headings, you will want to make the space before the paragraph equal to 72 points. This will automatically create the 2-inch margin for chapter headings, and you will not need to create a custom margin for these pages. As I'm using a 1.5-inch top margin throughout my document, I'm going to change the space before back to 0. In order to create a space between my header and the body text, I'm going to change the space after to 24 points. This will create a space of 2 blank lines between my header and the following body text. Before I leave this menu, I'm going to make sure that the box "Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style" is checked. Click OK. With the cursor in front of the title List of Figures, click the Heading 1 button. You will see that it automatically centers the title and applies the appropriate formatting. You will also see a small black square alongside the left margin. This is a formatting mark which shows that a style has been applied to this text. Now you can apply Heading 1 to all other major chapter headings following the table of contents. So I'm going to scroll down to the list of tables and click Heading 1 to apply the style. You can continue to apply the Heading 1 style to the remaining chapter headings. If you wish to come back later and make further modifications to the chapter heading style, you can open the Styles window and modify the Heading 1 style directly. This will ensure that any modifications will be applied consistently throughout the document. If you happen to have a long chapter title, you may wish to place the title of the chapter on the next line. You can accomplish this through a soft return by pressing Shift plus Enter. You should see a small arrow as a formatting mark indicating that you have used a soft return. A soft return indicates that the next line is a continuation of the first. Pressing the Enter key by itself creates a hard return, which places the chapter heading on a new line as if to start a new paragraph. If the new line still has Heading 1 applied, the table of contents will pick it up as a new heading, and the PDF document will have a bookmark for both lines. A soft return allows Word and Adobe Acrobat to know that this is one chapter heading on 2 lines and not 2 individual chapter headings. This concludes the video tutorial for the Heading 1 style. If you have any further questions, please use the ETD Help Request form on the Thesis and Dissertation Services website. The next video in this series will cover the use of headings with the pre-content style.